like one of the things with Aria's Choice is it was supposed to be super realistic. Not super realistic, like kind of in between. It wasn't super fantasy, like, you know, oh my goodness, all the boys are gonna love me at the same time. It's gonna be a competition. Oh my goodness, who to choose? And so like it was more so like, you know, you have to actually communicate with them in order to actually get a whole romance going, you know, part of the whole psychology and stuff angle. And it's interesting how you're saying how you prefer not everyone being in love with you, because I think part of the turn off for like Aria's Choice is that not everyone is in love with you. You gotta work for your love.
That's right. Listen, sometimes it's fun. I will say, right, there is an appeal to everything being an option. For example, right, there's a game coming out in like April or something that's literally called Date Everything. You can bet your booty I will be playing that game and I will be dating everything. But I think because that is something that is often the way these genres are and games in this territory are, that it's nice to have one that is like, no, there's no, you know, funny gag where you're all like pigeons or something, although shout out to that dating sim too.
The full
there's
boyfriend.
no, we love that one. We love it. There's no like funny gag, there's no like fantasy world, they're not monsters, it's not like have all these things. There is, I think, a place in every genre for all different types, and this is Aria's Choice is the one that fits into that. Hey, you're a girl, you know, we're going to school and we're people. Like, it's very human, and I think there's a place for that, and I like it.
One of the it was kind of have you ever played Class of 09 or heard of it?
I don't think so.
You haven't heard of it?
I don't think so.
Well, it's been going on hot water recently because of the creator, but it's a satire because it's like everyone's essentially like a druggie and whatnot in that school or whatever. It's super out of this world, and how they get the reactions by being like so unrealistic, but I guess some people could relate because that's what happened at their school, right? Like how I was going with Aria's Choice is that it's kind of realistic in the fact, like, you know, you don't really talk to people unless you interact with them, like, you know,
Yep.
like in college, you know, you're not gonna just randomly be like, oh yeah, this guy's so into me, like I never met him, but I never met him before, but like, you know, hey. But I just kind of find it funny because your main love interest, Damon, just approaches you. It's like, so yeah, Aria, right? Yeah. He's just kind of just like, hey lady. It's just like, who are you?
And that's why we choose him every time, okay?
Unless you're like, you know what, I want a different level option, not you. Like,
that's right.
So which route you think fleshed out Aria the most?
I think instead of a route, I would flip back to those friendship scenes. I think any scene with the girls is what fleshes her out, because if you don't have those, she just becomes, you know, the placeholder. And again, sometimes placeholder is fine, but she is her own character. She has her own thoughts and rights. You just have the ability to make them sometimes. And so I think those friendship scenes with the girls are really the ones that flesh out, like, hey, this is a character living her own life and having fun, and she's got friends, and even if you pick none of the above, she will continue to have a good time. So I think those ones flesh her out the best.
Oh yeah. So one of the things we were gonna have, or I was gonna try to do, but then I messed up the the chart.
Oh no.
What was that? So apparently in romance, you can't have the main character be by themselves, because that's a deal breaker. It's like, how can you have an ending that's not a bad ending where she's by herself and embraces being by herself? So we're gonna have Serenity be the placeholder for that, where she realizes, you know what, I don't need a date right now. It's just not my time to date. But accidentally wrote the thing wrong, so we didn't get that ending. So she ended up with one of the boys instead, which means that Serenity had her option of being with Michelangelo exclusively, and Layla had her option of being with Tanner exclusively. Well, not exclusively. Tanner is exclusively for Serenity and Layla, but Aria doesn't get him. But then there's like certain exclusives where Serenity could get it, but not Layla, and vice versa. So like, what would you have thought about like one of the girls not ending up with someone, essentially?
Now, correct me if this is not in the game or spoiler territory, but I remember recording a like no option for at least one of the routes. And I remember when I was recording it thinking, this is fire. To be able to be like, nah, actually, I pursued you this entire game, but I don't want you. Like, I loved recording that. I really like that as an option. And I am always a fan, even in romance games, for a choice to be like, to stay on your own and not go with any of the romanceable options. I love those choices, so I'd be down.
Oh, so so in every route at the very end, because we didn't want people to be upset, it's like, where did I go wrong? You have an option to just reject the guy you've been pining for this whole time. You're just like, you know what? Never mind.
And I like that. Literally, every time I recorded one of those, I was like, this is the best choice. Like, I'm sorry, but this is the best ending. If you go through the entire game romancing one specific boy just to say no, you are the ultimate player. That's all I have to say.
I think it's kind of funny, because I don't think you actually got to get the secret ending when you played, right?
I did not.
So, spoilers for the sequel. Aria has a half-brother named Lloyd. The game's called Lloyd's Playbook. He's, because he's a playboy. So, like, Aria's supposed to be, like, the innocent version of it, even though she's kind of cruel at times. Well, Lloyd's the playbook. Like, he's a heartbreaker. And it's kind of like they both don't understand the concept of love, but they go about it two different ways. Where, like, Aria chooses not to date. Well, Lloyd will date, but he's not gonna commit. It's just kind of hilarious to just see, like, they're kind of like the same person, just like taking things opposite. And so, like, yeah. And then there's another sibling, like, and she's just kind of there, like, like she's actually. It's so goofy to say out loud. She's actually this version of Aria, like the original version with some altercations to it. So like because I was just like, I like this design, I want to use the design. So like we made some changes to it. It made it like the youngest of the siblings. So yeah, but like I feel like it layers Aria. Well, also not having her be the main lead. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, when that jazz came about, I was like, oh, we're getting more Aria lore. Because, when you voice a character and you sort of build a character, right? I am going into it like, okay, this is how I think she would respond in these scenarios, and this is like her inner emotional life, and this is her relationships and how they are for each of her friends and how she sees each of the boys. And so the more Aria lore that came about, the more I was like, oh, now I have to throw this into the mix. And so I think that was fun to see that revealed and to sort of be like, okay, you are currently playing as like what is essentially the only nice and innocent one of this family. And then you have little back burners of the other two that are here like, hey, if you enjoyed playing the nice one, get a load of us. And I think that definitely forms a bit of how she turned out. And it probably forms a bit of how they turned out, because if Aria was growing up as like the sort of, you know, perfect girl, right? She's always put together and does well in school and doesn't like go with all the boys and makes her decisions and stuff like that, then it makes sense for, you know, a sibling to be kind of the opposite, where they're like, I will never be that. You know, I will never be the smart, perfect, handsome one. So I'm just going to do whatever I can with whomever I can while I can, right? So, and it's funny because not the Playboy aspect, but that mentality is a bit more where like my personality lies, because I'm very like, do everything that you can right now, go for it, like don't worry about the future type of energy. So it's funny, he's got bits and pieces of his personality that I relate to. And I'd be interested to see where all of that goes.
Yeah, I'm interested too because we got we got too crazy with the story. I was just like, how is this the room? We're literally writing, right? And what we're like, let's have a yandere, bro.
Oh boy.
Like, I was just like, are we really gonna make a yandere love interest? He's like, the boys will love that. I was like, okay.
Listen, listen, I've been in other visual novels and I've been in other dating sims, and I have yet to be able to play a yandere or a tsundere or anything that is, you know, a little bit like, maybe don't pick this person. And I'm dying to play the character that is like, oh, that's a bad decision, right? Like, it's like romancing Lae'zel in Baldur's Gate 3. That is always like my choice. I want the one that beats you up type of energy. That should not be clipped out of context. But anyways, that is like that sort of snarky energy and like toxicness in a game, in a fantasy world. You want to see where it goes. And it's so much fun to play those characters, and I've yet to be able to play one. So if anybody out there, or if you guys, when you create your next stuff, if you have a character that is like, oh, this fits that description, let me know.
Yeah, I just find it so funny though, because it's like, I feel like Aria's choice is like, this is what a healthy relationship might be, and then with the sequel, it's like, this is not a healthy relationship at all. It's like, this is not something to strive for.
Correct.
It's just like, I gotta be like, warning, do not do it. It's just like, this is a red flag to the game. So, do you wish there was more drama with Aria, or like, what is something you wish that you gotten from Aria, or like her depthness that like is in the game?
Ooh. I would have liked... tricky. I think it would be interesting to have stuff that is sort of outside of the scope of some of the traditional things. This is very traditional in the style of like, they're in college, they're in school, right? They're learning these crafts, they're meeting other students, they're having fun, all that kind of jazz. But I think it'd be interesting to hop into something like this, but instead of necessarily dating sim territory, maybe it's into a relationship. So like, you're already dating one of them, or you already have been in a space where it's like, oh, this is my boyfriend, and you know, maybe you get the choices of like, this other boy who I just met is flirting with me. Am I doing this? Do you go back and break up with your boyfriend? What does Serenity think about flirting with other boys or doing whatever when you have a partner? I think those kind of complexities would be able to keep her human, because you could see the aspect of like, hey, you've been together forever long, you're going through trouble, like, you as a human when you're in those scenarios don't always make the best choices. And I think it could give you a real keep the humanness about her and who she is and the real life sort of aspect that this game has running for it, but also give her a bit more depth in the style of the problems she's dealing with and considering are a bit more mature. I think that would be fun because they're fun in this game, but I could definitely see the aspect of like, they won't necessarily, you know, choosing whichever boy you choose or choosing not to go with one is not going to, you know, end the world, right? Or make her not get a career. So it could be interesting to have one with a bit more mature decision making, where it's like, you know, maybe Serenity, there's a decision that you could make where she's like, if you make this decision, like, we're not friends anymore, right? Or something to that aspect. Literally, because something where there's a bit of, you know, your choices matter, but maybe your choices matter for more than romance, yes or no. Like, you're not gonna have a friend beside you when you make these choices, but you'll have the boy you want. So I think something like that could be really fun.
It was funny that you say that because I was thinking about what if for when you rejected Damien, it leads to the
Oh boy.
So you know how you talk about Tandem's harem, that this leads to the reason why Tanner could date Aria, because Layla and Ty end up dating, right? And then
Right.
Silver and Serenity are dating, but that's a red flag relationship right there. So then it's just like relationships, the game, where it's just like, are they in all good relationships or not?
Yeah. Relationship the game could be fun, especially if you know, if we delve into like queer territory, they're like being in that group, and then if you could all date each other theoretically, and you're swapping like, oh well, I broke up with him and you guys broke up, and oh my gosh, relationship the game would be crazy.
Oh my goodness. For this game, that could not be a possibility because, okay, spoiler. we made another of the guys related and they don't know. And
see, can't be doing that. That's too much.
Yeah, so it's just like, yeah, we can't really make it too crazy.
Nope,
so,
can't be doing that. You gotta have a whole new universe.
Yeah, so I was just like, that's probably for a whole different territory. But like, yeah, like if it's just like add more characters or something like that, then maybe. But this one, like we're going crazy with the prequel, so it's just like, yeah, because some of them don't know they're related. That would be a bit too much. so yeah, but it's kind of crazy. It's just like, but we're not doing the Orin High thing. It's just, the twin sets.
Oh boy.
So, oh my goodness.